I guess I need to take myself off of mute. I said, "Well, welcome to Grillin' and Chillin' with Coleman, where nothing is real and the points don't matter." I appreciate everybody joining me tonight. Let's see who we got in the chat room tonight. Hey, Bobby, good to see you. Mike, we got Mike from the Dude's Kitchen. If you haven't checked out Mike's channel, you need to definitely check it out. We got Grillin' and Chillin' with Mojo. Man, what a great name for a channel. We got Mr. Cast Iron. Mike, how are you doing, my friend? Um, we got a viewer from Facebook. If you're over from Facebook, it'll say Facebook user in the comments. It says I'm in the blind with volume on. I bet you I know who that is. If you would like your picture and your name to show up on YouTube, you've got to click the StreamYard link on Facebook on this link and the link to this event, and it will you give StreamYard permission to show your name and your picture, and it will come through. But who else we got in here? Mr. Cast Iron, Dudes Cast Iron. If you're in here from Facebook, if you'll type in your name, that way I'll know. Hey, it's Brisket Medic. If you haven't checked out the Brisket Medics YouTube channel, you got to hop on over and check that out. How many folks have we got in the channel? We got 14 folks in today. So I appreciate everybody joining me today. We've got a great show this evening. We're going to be talking all about turkeys tonight. We're going to be talking about frying, and actually be about smoking and grilling turkeys, getting ready for Thanksgiving coming up. But I also have a I also have a special announcement coming up later at the end of the show. So I appreciate everybody being here this evening. Hey, Teresa, I see you in. Mrs. Cast Iron, glad to have you here. Love to have everybody here in the show today. I appreciate everybody coming in this morning, this evening. Couple things during the show this evening. If you have a question and you'd like to ask a question during the show, if you would put it in the comment section with 3 question marks, then your question, and then 3 more question marks. That way it makes it a whole lot easier for me to see them. And what I'll try to do is I'll try to catch those questions during the live stream. If I can catch them, I'll get them answered while we're visiting this evening. If we don't, then I'll try to go back and answer them afterwards. But before we end this evening, I'll go back through the comments and make sure we get all your questions answered. But if you got any questions about turkeys tonight, about smoking or grilling turkeys, or even really chicken or poultry, you can ask those in the comments this evening. But if you would put it with 3 question marks, your question, and then 3 more question marks. Talking turkey. That's right, Mike. We're going to be talking turkey tonight. Also, before we get started with talking turkeys, we're not going to actually be on very long this evening, just long enough to cover everything we wanted to talk about. Mr. Cast Iron, do you know what the pulley bone is? Do you know what the pulley bone? No, Mike, I don't know what the pulley bone is, but I bet you'll tell us. We've actually just hit some huge milestones on the channel in the last week or so. And Mike, I saw on Facebook, Mike from Mr. Cast Iron, I saw that he just hit a huge milestone on his channel as well. Mike, was it 1,800 subscribers that you just recently hit? If you'll put that in the comments. But Mike just hit 1,800 subscribers on his channel, and I know he's been working real hard. He's got a great talk show he does over on his channel. But we just hit some huge milestones over here on Grillin' and Chillin' with Coleman. Oh, he had 1,800. Great job, Mike. Great job. Mike's been working real hard on his channel. And if you're interested in anything cast iron, whether it be cooking, cleaning, doing whatever you want to do on cast iron, Mike's got a great channel over there at Mr. Cast Iron. But we just hit some huge milestones on our channel. We just hit 2,700 subscribers on our channel, and there's no way we could have done it without all the viewers and everybody tuning in and liking the videos and commenting on the videos and coming back and subscribing and hitting that notification bell. I really appreciate everybody supporting the channel and tuning in and watching my videos. And the second milestone we just hit is one of our videos just hit 100,000 views. I never would have guessed that a crazy old man like me would have had a video on YouTube hit 100,000 views. And surprisingly, it's actually my video that I did on how to smoke ribs on a gas grill. If you haven't checked out that video, you might pop on over to the channel and take a look at it after our live stream this evening. But it's how to smoke ribs on baby back ribs on a gas grill, and that recently that video just hit 100,000 views. That's crazy. I never would have expected that, so I appreciate that. Grillin and Chillin with Mojo, I appreciate that. Thank you very much for that. Congratulations. I really appreciate that, everybody. Makes me feel real good that I got the support of everybody on the channel. So one more thing before we get into the turkeys is we just got in another batch of our Grillin and Chillin stickers. And if you don't have one of these yet, neat little stickers. If you put these on your refrigerator, your ice chest, or, wherever you want to put them. If you haven't got one of the new Grillin and Chillin stickers yet, just pop on over to my website. There's the address. Just pop on over to my website. You can go to www.grillinandchillinwithcoleman.com. Click on the Contact Us page and send me an email or send me a note there and send me your address, and I'll ship one right out to you free of charge. I'll even pay for the shipping on that. Or if you don't want to do that, you can send me an email at Coleman@grillinandchillinwithcoleman.com. Again, send me your shipping address, and I'll ship one out to you. I got plenty of them. I'll stick one in an envelope, and I'll send one right out to you. Just to show my appreciation for everybody watching and supporting the channel and watching my videos, and I do appreciate everybody supporting that, and I just want to show you my appreciation by sending you out one of my stickers. So, well, let's get right into what we're here to do this evening, and that's to talk about turkeys. And what kind of prompted this is I've been having a lot of questions on my Facebook page on what's the best way to smoke a turkey right now, because everybody's got that interest. Everybody's getting ready and ramped up for Thanksgiving. As a matter of fact, this morning I put a turkey on the smoker because I live out here in North Texas around a private lake, and we had our Friendsgiving. I'll post some pictures from that on the Facebook page here either this evening or tomorrow. But we just had our Friendsgiving party, and we had our kind of our Thanksgiving for everybody around the lake, and I smoked the turkey for everybody here. So I've been smoking a turkey all day. I actually put it in the brine yesterday and posted a couple pictures of that. So what I want to do is I want to talk about kind of my process that I do when I smoke a turkey and get it ready. So that way you can start getting yours ready in case you're interested. And the first thing I do with mine is when I take it out. Let's talk about the turkey first. One of the size of the turkey is probably just as important as anything else. And the size that I typically like to use is about a 15-pound turkey. I found that works really well. It cooks in a good amount of time. It's not too big, not too small. It'll feed a good amount of people, and it smokes pretty evenly. And it's not too huge for any grill. You can pretty much fit a 15-pound turkey on a Weber kettle 22-inch or 26-inch. You can fit it on a Kamado Joe. You can fit it on a pretty much any gas grill. So it's you can a 15-pound turkey is a pretty good size for that. So a couple prep things you might want to do is, of course, when you want to make sure you get it thawed out in the refrigerator. I had mine in the refrigerator for almost a week because it was frozen when I picked it up. So I picked it up. It was frozen. I stuck it in the refrigerator for about a week and thawed it out. And then once it did thaw out, I took it out of the package, rinsed it out real good, took all the innards out, the neck, the giblets, the liver, all the stuff that's on the inside of the turkey, took all that out of there. Also, if your turkey has one of those little done buttons on the side of it, you want to make sure you take that out. You're not going to need that. We don't rely on those things very much, but you want to take that out and flavor of your turkey. If you're doing the oven, it's fine, but we're going to do it on the grill. We're not going to need that thing. So clean it up real good. Remove any feathers it might still have on the thing. Clean out all the innards, and then we're gonna brine this thing. We're gonna and why do we brine it? Well, really because turkey doesn't have a whole lot of flavor, especially the white meat. Also, the smoking process and the roasting process of a turkey really tends to dry it out quite a bit. And no matter what you do, it just tends to dry it out. So you want to do is everything you can to as much moisture as possible back into that turkey. And so brining it really helps that. It really helps add moisture, but what it also does is it really adds a lot of flavor to that turkey. A brine is really just salt water. Now there's some extra things that I add to it, and I'll share my recipe with you here in just a second. But brine is just really salt water, and what it does is it really adds that extra salt and flavor deeper into the meat, and makes the bird more moist and adds a lot of flavor to your meat. So let me share my screen with you real quick. If you want to get ready, you can take a screenshot. I'm actually going to share my screen with you. Give me 2 seconds. Let me take off. I think everybody can see this. If you want to take a screenshot of this, this is actually what I put in my brine. And what I do is I just mix everything together in a big stock pot. Half a gallon of water, half a gallon of apple juice or cider, 3/4 a cup of kosher salt, 2/3 a cup of brown sugar, 3/4 cup of soy sauce. And soy sauce has a lot of sodium and there's salt in it as well. 1/4 cup of olive oil, but I actually use avocado oil myself. But a lot of folks don't have that in the house. So if you don't have avocado oil, you can use olive oil. And then I use a tablespoon of thyme, sage, 2 tablespoons of peppercorn. And yes, I use liquid smoke in my brine. I know a lot of barbecues and grills will throw a fit about that, but I do use a little bit of liquid smoke. And then I make my own chipotle powder here in the GNC kitchen. I grow my own jalapenos. I smoke them, dehydrate them, grind them up. So you can really use any chipotle powder you want. It doesn't really give it a lot of kick, but it just adds a nice flavor to it. And then I add a 1 tablespoon of garlic powder. So I mix that. I mix that all up together. Let me close that down real quick. I mix that all up together. I mix that all up together and then mix it real well. Make sure the salt and the sugar is dissolved. There's really no need to heat it up. I guess you could heat it up if you want to help dissolve it a little better. But I don't typically heat mine up when I do it, because if you do, you're just going to have to chill it back down because you don't want to put the turkey in there with it at warm at all. So I just tend to keep mine cold and do it that way. Matter of fact, I use chilled water and I have the apple juice chilled in the refrigerator as well, just to keep it all cold. And then what I'll do is I'll put my turkey in I put it in a ice chest, a small ice chest, and then I'll pour the brine over the top of the ice chest, and then I'll fill the rest of the ice chest up with water to make sure that it's completely covered. Or I'll add ice, crushed ice, because you want it to stay cold, because you're going to actually have this thing. You're going to have it brined for at least an hour per pound of bird. So if you've got a 15-pound bird, you're going to want to brine that bird for 15 hours. You don't ever want to go over 2 hours per pound or 2 hours per pound of bird, because what it does is it will oversaturate that bird with salt, and it'll also kind of make the meat a little mushy sometimes. So try to avoid try to avoid going over 2 hours per pound of bird. So I usually stick to about 1 hour per pound of bird. So I'll stick it in an ice chest, pour the brine over the top of it, add a little bit of water, add some ice to it, and then just let it sit and rest for the 15 to 18 hours until it's ready to go. Let me check before we go on to the next step. Let me see if there's any questions. Mr. Cast Iron, in a bong? I don't know what that question means. Let me check to see if there's any other questions. I don't see any other questions so far. Perfect. All right. So let's move on to the next step. So once I brine that turkey, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take it out of the brine, and then I'm going to rinse it off really good. I'm going to get off those peppercorns. I'm going to rinse off any excess of the thyme or the sage or anything into the excess herbs and spices that are stuck to the outside. I'm going to put it in the sink and rinse it off real well and get it cleaned off. Then I'm ready for the next step. And then what I'm going to typically do then is I'm going to take a large apple, a large onion, and then about 10 cloves of garlic. And I'm going to cut up those onions and apples real well. And I'm going to stuff the inside of that bird with those. And those are going to add a lot of aromatics and additional flavors to that bird. You don't typically want to stuff your bird with I remember when I was a kid, my mom and I'll be you just answered a big one for me. Okay. I appreciate that. You don't typically want to put any stuffing at all inside the bird. Stuffing will really keep the inside of the bird raw and keep it undercooked. So you really want to be careful using stuffing. It really drives the temperature down inside the bird. So I put apples and oranges and garlic inside of mine. It lets that air move around on the inside, still allowing the inside of that bird to cook, but it adds a lot of flavor to the inside of your bird. So I'll stuff it with again, oranges, apples, and garlic. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a butter herb rub, where I'll leave a couple sticks of butter out overnight on the counter, let it soften up really good, and then I'm going to add some parsley, some sage, some rosemary, some thyme, a little bit of salt, some ground pepper into that butter. And what I do is I take and I lift the skin off the breast of the bird. So I put my hands between, I know it sounds a little gross, but I put my hands between the breast of the bird and between the skin and lift the skin off. And then I rub that butter herb compound all underneath the bird, underneath the skin as much as I can. And then I lay that skin back down on top. It'll stick back to the bird. If you put it on top, it's not going to really do any good. It's not going to penetrate that skin or get inside there. But if you'll go up underneath the skin and put it directly on the breast meat of the bird, it's really going to do a lot of good. So again, we brined it, we stuffed it with our apples, onions, and garlic. We put our herb butter on there. And then the next thing that we're going to do is that's real important is we're also going to inject our bird. And I typically, where I'd like to inject a bird again is in the breast meat. Usually the dark meat, the leg and the thigh, they don't typically dry out a lot, but sometimes they do. Depends on how long you're cooking it. So in the breast meat, I'll take a mixture of usually 2 sticks of butter, and usually I'll use a little bit of my favorite chicken rub, and I like Clucker Dust is one of my favorite chicken rubs. So I'll mix a little bit of Clucker Dust, or actually Cabela's has a really good chicken rub as well that I buy in a big bucket. I'll mix a little bit of that, maybe a tablespoon into the 2 sticks of butter, and then I'll inject that bird into the breast meat as much as I can to get some additional moisture inside that breastbone. I don't like to do it through the skin because I want to help that skin hold the moisture in. So I'll usually lift the skin up and then inject it underneath the skin, kind of how I did with the uh, with the. So I'll lift up the skin and then I'll put it on there. So I'll inject it, and then I'll take the um, then I'm going to take the legs and the wings, and then I'm going to truss them all up. If you don't know what that means, I'm going to tie the legs and the wings up to keep that bird nice and tight together. And then it's ready to go on. Then the bird is ready to go on the grill. And next step that I'm going to do is I like to create a drip pan that goes underneath my bird. And what I'll put in that drip pan is I'll typically put up a whole onion. I'll put in some chopped celery, some chopped carrots. I'll put some rosemary, some thyme, some sage, and I'll put about 4 cups of chicken broth. I'll put those in a big aluminum foil drip pan. And in my Kamado Joe, I typically put it on the deflector plate underneath. If you've got a gas grill, you're going to want to put it underneath the bird on the side of the grill that you're not going to have flame on, and we'll talk about that here in just a minute. But you're going to want to, if you're using a charcoal grill, and you're going to want to set it up for 2-zone grilling, so all of your heat on one side, and then the side that you're not having the heat on, the side that your bird's going to be on, you're going to want to put that drip pan underneath. And what does that drip pan do? Really, it keeps your grill cleaner, for one thing. The second thing it does is it makes an amazing gravy. All of the drippings from that turkey are going to drip down into that mix, that drip pan. And then afterwards, I'll drain that off. I'll drain all that liquid off and strain it, and then separate off the fat. And then I'll make a roux in a skillet, which is a flour and oil mixture. And I'll make a turkey gravy, and that's what we'll use a turkey gravy afterwards. But I make it with all the drippings and those vegetables and everything, and I take those out. Also, what I put in that pan is I'll put the giblets. I'll put the heart, the gizzard, the kidneys, the liver, the neck. I'll put those in there, and that adds some additional flavor into that pan. So I'll stick those into that pan, and then I'll stick all that. I'll stick all those into the pan, and then just catch all those drippings. So now we're ready to get on the heat. If you're cooking over like on a Kamado Joe, when I'm cooking my Kamado Joe, I've seen a lot of folks that will set up their grill at a lower temperature, 225 or 250. I don't typically like to do that. I don't like to smoke my bird that low, and mainly because I've seen that it tends to dry the meat out too much. It will it just I think it's just cooking it too long. So the temperature that I found that's kind of a sweet spot for me is right at 300 degrees. And I've been doing mine right at 300 degrees for several years now. And it typically works out to about 12 to 15 minutes per pound of bird. So that 15-minute bird that I smoked today, it smoked in about 3.5 hours is how long it took. And I did it at 300 the entire time. So, so 300 degrees is right what I put it at. On my Kamado Joe, I put the deflector plates in, put that pan of drippings that I do it, and I put the turkey on top of it right directly on the rack. If you're doing it on a gas grill, if you're going to be smoking yours on the gas grill, you're going to want to set up a 2-zone cooking. So you want to light the couple of the burners on one side, and then leave all the rest of the burners off. And you're going to want to put your bird as far away from that heat as you can, and then monitor your heat on your gas grill to keep it right at 350. Now, monitoring temperature on a gas grill is difficult. Gas grills aren't meant to hold heat, so there's a lot of vents, there's a lot of open areas. So smoking a turkey on a gas grill is difficult. I've done it, but it does take a lot of work. You got to continually monitor that and adjust your dials and keep turning that heat up or down. And you also need to use a smoke box. So you can grab a smoke box, put some pellets in it, and put some wood chips in there, and to create the smoke that you can. But you can definitely smoke a turkey. I did it. It's probably been 5 years since I did the last one, but you can definitely smoke a turkey on a gas grill. So if you're using a gas grill, again, set up 2-zone cooking. Put a couple burners on, the rest of the burners off. Put your turkey over there on that side. On a thing like a Weber kettle, you're going to want to set it up for 2-zone grilling. I just put out a video on my channel on how to set up your grill, your Weber kettle, for 2-zone grilling and for low and slow. So you might check out that video, and it shows how to bank all your coals to one side, keep them off the other side, and set it up for that 2-zone, how to adjust your vents. So what you'll do is you'll bank all your coals to one side, put that drip pan underneath, put your turkey right on top of that drip pan, and then keep it away from that heat. If you got a slow and sear is really good for that 2-zone grilling. I've got a link to those in my videos, but slow and sear works really well for setting up that 2-zone grilling. The snake method also works really well for 2-zone grilling and keeping that heat. But the problem with the snake method is it's really hard to get, for me anyway, it's hard to get your grill up to 300. It's easier to keep it down around 250 with the snake method. It's tough to get it up to 300 with the snake method. So I'll typically grill mine at 300, and for a 15-pound bird, it took me 3.5 hours, and it's about 12 to 15 minutes per pound. So I'll grill it just like that until it hits about 165 degrees in the breastbone and about 170 degrees in the thigh. Now, one thing you really want to be careful of, and I made this mistake plenty of times before, is I use a CyberQ cloud for monitoring my temperatures, and I'll stick one probe in the breast and one probe in the thigh, and I trusted those. I trusted those to give me the accurate temperature. And when they read the temperature I wanted, I pulled them out, took my turkey off, and guess what? My turkey was raw on the bottom. It wasn't fully cooked. So whenever you put your probes in there, those are just guides in what the temperature needs to be. Once those probes tell you that the temperature is where it needs to be, you need to take an instant read thermometer and double check in multiple places. So like today, when I was smoking that turkey, when my temperature probes on my CyberQ cloud said, "Hey, you've hit 165 in that breast meat area," I started checking it with I use a Pampered Chef instant read thermometer. Love the thing. It's got a probe that comes out, and I can use it right on there. Plus, it also has a wired a probe. But I've been using a Pampered Chef instant read thermometer for a long time, and I love the thing. I think, Mike, from the Dude's Kitchen, I think I saw that you used a Pampered Chef one as well. But I like that thing. Anyway, once I started checking around on the rest of the turkey, I found out that it wasn't up to temperature. That it was just that probe that I had stuck in actually hit a bone, and it was giving me a false reading. So I pulled it out, stuck it in another place, checked some more, and it wound up going, and that was right at the 3-hour mark, and it wound up going another 30 minutes before it was finally done. So make sure you check around. Make sure you really verify that those temperatures are where they need to be. And you don't want to pull it off early, because the last thing you would do is cut into your bird when it's done. So once it's done, once you hit your temperatures, you want to pull your probes out, stick it in a pan, and then tin it. You don't want to wrap it in foil, because what that'll do is that'll seal in the moisture, and it'll steam the skin, and it will make the skin kind of rubbery. So what you want to do is you just want to kind of tin it a little bit to hold in the heat a little bit. And so I smoked the turkey here in the GNC kitchen, and then I actually had to put it in my Jeep and transport it to the other side of the lake to my friend's house. And so that's what I did, is I just kind of tinted it over. And one thing I forgot to mention is at about 2.5 hours into the cook, the color on the outside of my bird was perfect. I didn't want it to get any darker at all. So at 2.5 hours, I actually took a piece of foil and I covered the top of my bird with a piece of foil, and that way I didn't want it to get any darker. And that was really, it wasn't going to burn, It's just skin, and really nobody eats the skin anyway. Some people do, but I didn't want it to look overcooked, so I put that foil over the top of the bird just to block out any. I didn't want it to get any darker. So think about that when your when your bird on the outside looks like it's hit the uh, the desired color that you want, then just tint it over with some foil and it'll keep it from getting any darker. And sometimes the wingtips on your bird will tend to get darker than most. So once they get to the right color and the rest of the bird hasn't, don't be afraid to wrap those wingtips with a little bit of foil also to keep those from getting any darker. So anyway, back to the turkey. Hey, Stephen and Jacqueline. Hey, welcome. Got a couple more folks. Strong's Adventures is in with us. I appreciate you folks joining us. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So pull your bird off, tin it, let it rest for about 30 minutes before you cut into it. And that's a good time to take that drip pan that we talked about that had the celery, the onions, the carrots, the garlic, all those herbs in it. And then I'll put a cast iron skillet on the stove. Yes, Mr. Cast Iron, I do use cast iron. I put a cast iron skillet on the stove. I'll put a little bit of avocado oil in the bottom of the pan and let it start heating up. And then I'll spoon in about, depends on how much I'm making. And I'll put, I don't know, 2 or 3 spoons of all-purpose flour into the skillet, and I'll just stir it a little bit to brown that flour a little bit. And what I'm doing is I'm making my gravy now, and I'm cooking the raw flavor out of the gravy. And you want to do that ahead of time, because if you don't, it's going to taste raw. It's going to have that raw dough flavor, and you don't want that in your gravy. So brown your flour a little bit on the stove. And then what I do is I have a separator, a oil water separator. It looks like a big measuring cup. And I pour the liquids from that drip pan into that. It strains off all the solids, and then it separates the oil and the water. It lets the oil float to the top. And then I hit a button, and it drains the liquids that's not oil off the bottom, and I drain it into a measuring cup. So that's what I do with mine. And then I'll slowly pour that liquid into the flour oil mixture, and then I'll whisk it into the skillet, and I'll make a gravy. Matter of fact, Mr. Cast Iron, you had a great video the other day. You were making deer steaks, I think, on your channel, and he had a good video where he was showing how to make gravy. And I make my gravy the exact same way, and that's what I was doing is I pour that turkey stock with all the flavors of the onions and the garlic and the celery and the carrots, pour that into the skillet and whisk it in there. And actually what I typically do is I'll make more of the flour roux than I need. So I initially actually put 4 or 5 spoons of the flour oil mixture, and then I spoon 2 or 3 of them out and put them in a separate bowl. And then I pour in my turkey liquid, my mixture, and start mixing it in and whisking it in. I pour it in there slowly and whisk it in and get the consistency I want. And if it's too thin, if I had more liquid than I needed for roux, then I can spoon it back in a little bit of that flour oil where we call it roux, mix it back into the turkey gravy mixture, and finish thickening it up a little bit. Then I bring that to a really slow boil, just where it starts to bubble, and then I'll take it off the heat and let it cool. So that's the gravy I make with it. So that's really how I do my smoked turkeys. Now the great thing about it is this entire process that I just shared with you can also be done in your oven. You don't have to do this on the grill. I know I've got a barbecue channel and I teach people how to grill and barbecue, but you can do this entire process in your oven in the house. All the steps that I showed you done in your home oven. One of the things I didn't talk about is on my grill, what kind of wood do I use? And I use pecan or oak as smoke wood on my grill. I don't like to use hickory or mesquite or something harsh like that, just because poultry, it just sucks up smoke flavor so much that you don't want to use anything harsh. So I used pecan today, and it was just a perfect light smoke on there. But If you just want to if you just want to cook your turkey in your oven in the house, then you can use all the steps that I showed you today and or shared with you today, and do that in your oven in the house, and you'll get an amazing turkey and to serve to your family. Now, I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, you're going to get a better smoke flavor out of it by putting it on your grill, and try it. If you haven't done it before, tell you what, put one in the oven and then try one on the grill. Everybody fries a turkey for Thanksgiving. Everybody's doing that now. That's the in thing. Well, I guarantee you smoke a turkey for your family this year for Thanksgiving, and you'll never fry another one again. I mean, smoked turkey there's nothing. I'm not a big turkey fan. I'd rather have ham any day than I would turkey. But I like, yeah. Bobby, I see your comment there. My oven is only a storage vessel for cast iron. I love that. It's funny you say that. My gas grill, I don't use it very much, only for a few videos. But my gas grill that I use out in my GNC kitchen, that's where I store my pots and pans and my gas. So, um, uh, Facebook user, uh, Coleman brought smoked turkey and gravy this afternoon to our neighborhood Friendsgiving. Delicious. Pete, that must be you or Renee. If it is, put your name on there. That's my friends from. I think that's my friends from across the lake, or one of the friends from the lake that was there. So if you're not here on YouTube, or you haven't clicked the StreamYard, it won't show your name on there. So I'm not sure who that is, but thank you. I hope everybody liked the turkey. So, but anyway, you can do that. So if you've got some other, it's Renee. Perfect, Renee. I appreciate you popping in. If you've got some other ideas, or I'm going to scroll through here real quick. I don't want to stay on here too long. I still have my announcement that I want to make. We've got 13 people on here. I'm scrolling back through the comments to see if we've got any questions. I don't see any questions. If you've got some questions, we'll give it just a few minutes. If you've got any questions about turkeys, any turkeys besides me, if you've got any questions about turkeys, post them in the comments. And if you would, with your questions about turkeys, put your 3 question marks, your question, and then 3 more questions. But I'm looking. Hey, I'm watching and drinking too. Still full. Awesome turkey. Is that all right? I'm going to make a spatchcock turkey tomorrow. Any tips would be great. Going to make a spatchcock turkey tomorrow. Any tips would be great. First time grilling a spatchcock turkey, Kamado or Traeger, probably a Kamado style grill. The great thing about spatchcocking a turkey is it's going to cook a lot quicker. Now all the steps that I talked about today with the brining and the injecting, that stuff is all still 100% true. But what spatchcocking does is of course, if for those of you who don't know what spatchcocking is, you're basically cutting out the breastbone. I'm sorry, the backbone. You're cutting out the backbone. You take shears and you cut down either side of the backbone, take it out, and then lay the bird flat. You actually break the breastbone, lay it down flat on your grill, and then cook it that way. And what it does is it gives you a more even surface, and it helps the bird cook quicker and a lot more even. So, Grillin, Chillin, Mojo, great question. If you're follow the exact same steps, you're still going to want to brine it. You're still going to want to inject it. Of course, you can't stuff it with the things that I talked about, but you can still rub it with the herb butter, those kind of things. Still do the drip pan, but all the other steps are the same. But the time is going to be less. Still cook it at 300. That's still a good temperature for a spatchcock bird, but just monitor the temperature, because it's going to cook quicker than it would if it was a whole bird. And that's definitely one of the benefits of going with a with the whole bird. Here's another question: who's a bigger turkey, Mike or Mike? I don't know. That's a good question. Um, I don't know. I don't know who's a bigger turkey. Here's a question: better to use fresh or frozen? Darren. Hey, Darren. Though you don't know Darren is the ice cream man. If you haven't watched my video on how to make butter pecan ice cream, Darren makes the best ice cream. Matter of fact, I got some rum raisin ice cream down in the freezer that I'm going to be enjoying tonight that Darren made for me while he was in town last time. But if you want to learn how to make great homemade ice cream, go watch that video. And but Darren, fresh or frozen? Honestly, I've cooked both. My nanny growing up, we raised turkeys. Um, I honestly, turkeys really don't have a lot of flavor to me. All the flavor that they have is going to be added by me. So I really haven't noticed a whole lot of difference between a fresh or a frozen turkey. Um, I guess that's a different opinion you might give it, but I haven't noticed a big difference when it comes to grilling turkeys. I'm looking for other questions. Uh, all right, I don't see any other. I don't see any other questions. Let me take your. Just as a reminder, if you haven't, before I get to my announcement, if you haven't requested your Grillin and Chillin stickers yet, these are free. Just send me an email. Go over to my website at www.grillinandchillinwithcoleman and click on the contact us page. And we've been on for 45 minutes, and I'm going to get us off of here pretty quick and make my announcement, and then we're going to get off. But go over to my website, click on the contact us tab, and send me an email with your address on it, and I'll mail one out to you. And if you've got some stickers, from your page, I'd love to have one of your stickers as well. So in your email, tell me you got one, and I'll trade stickers with you, because I've got a couple of refrigerators in my GNC kitchen, and the door of one of my refrigerators is covered with all kinds of stickers. I've got, matter of fact, a lot of the guys that are in the chat tonight, um, um, a lot of the guys that are in the chat tonight, I've got a lot of your stickers on my door. So we have another question here, and Mike, you ought to know better than to ask a fat guy if he's going to share his ice cream. So, Mike, did I bring enough ice cream to share with everybody? The answer is no. So, matter of fact, let me tell you, Darren made 10 quarts of ice cream, and he only gave me about a pint of it. So he doesn't even share his ice cream real well. So, but this rum raisin, I got to tell you about this rum raisin stuff. I think he soaked the raisins in rum for about 6 months, and because you bite into one of those raisins and you feel it, man, that's some good ice cream right there. So anyway, so let's get to my announcement. Not a real big one, but I'm pretty happy about it. On my channel is all about grilling and having fun with friends and hanging out on the back deck and smoking and barbecuing. And I've put a couple videos on my channel about other things, and YouTube doesn't like that, and my typical subscribers and viewers don't like that either. So I've actually started another channel. I started a channel called Chillin with Coleman, and that's a channel where I'm going to be posting just other videos. I'm not asking you to subscribe to it, but it's not one that I'm gonna push and try to monetize and do all that. But I like to do other things besides grilling. Darren and I like to go out and ride our ATVs and our UTVs. I'm a gun guy. I like to shoot. I like to fish. I'm going on an elk hunt coming up. The first of next month. So I love doing stuff besides grilling, and I was in a place to post those things. So if you haven't had a chance to go over and check out, there's only a couple videos on it right now. But if you haven't had a chance to go over and check it out, the YouTube channel is called Chillin with Coleman. You'll know it's me. It's got me on the banner. If you want to subscribe, great. If you don't, not going to hurt my feelings. But it's just a channel where I just want to post some videos of some other things besides barbecuing. So that's my big announcement. But I do appreciate everybody joining me this evening. I'm not going to keep you on much longer. We've already been on for 45 minutes, and we got 16 people on here now. If you're new with viewing, put your name down here. You know, I've got TPC Cooks. I haven't seen him. Welcome, Strong's Adventures. Haven't seen you on for a while. Good to see you. Will you drop a link in the chat? Give me just one second. I will definitely do that. Give me 2 seconds. I don't know if you guys can still see me, but I am. I am going over to that channel right now, and I will pick up a link to that channel. And I will put it right there. There we go. I need it. By the way, I need to get some. Let me get off of that page. There it is. Can everybody see it? There's a link to that channel. If I'm going to start doing some more lives. I really love doing these things, but there's so many great live channels out there. You know, Mike from the Dude's Kitchen has one. Mr. Cast Iron has one. There's several guys in the chat tonight that have great live channels. So, but I might start doing some more lives because I love visiting with you folks, and you know, maybe once a month coming on and just visiting with you and sharing some new stuff and talking about. I think next month I'm going to jump on and we're gonna do a show on prime rib. You know, because a lot of folks do prime rib for Christmas. So we'll get on and we'll do a show about some prime rib next month and answer some questions and see and talk about that and see what we can do and share some ideas on that. But if you're new, I appreciate it. I welcome you. Thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate you guys spending some time with me this evening. Not in the GNC kitchen, but in my studios. And I'm going to sign out for this evening unless anybody has some questions. I don't see any going in. So you guys have a great evening. And by the way, y'all go grill something.